All right. Going back and we'll finish off the pivot table coding today. So yesterday what we did was we understood how to create a basic pivot table. We understood how to draw fields in the various parts of the pivot, how to change the basic default functions. And then we also spoke about changing the caption. I know two questions were given to me. Yesterday was a bad day. Today I'm little relatively free in terms of training. So hopefully I'll work on it today. By Monday, I should be able to answer those two questions that I have. Now let's talk about grouping. So if I look at this data over here, you see there's a column called date, right? And I think the blunder that I've done is I've given you the same data set as I'm working on. We are working on the same data, right? You have it in report 5 and what I'm working on. I think so. You might not admit, but I think it's exactly the same. Anyway, so how do you do grouping? So think about how would you do grouping. So if I create a pivot table and I drop date in a row, so do you have to go to a particular cell or a particular column rather, not a particular cell, but do you have to go to a particular cell and then right click and group, or you could be anywhere in a pivot table?
No, we have to go to particular.
You have to go to a particular cell. So
Yes.
even when we are doing a grouping, we have to ensure that we are in the first cell of where the date is getting dropped. Okay, so that is A5 in this case. So once you know where it is being dropped, then what you can do is, let me do this thing, copy this, and today use all the codes over here. Okay. So first thing, I need to drop the column of
Date.
date. Right? So
Right.
I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to put it before my, which field I have put. Pivot, current region, PTC, region. I've put region, okay. So before the region, I'm putting this column of dates and I'll drop it in the row field. So I have date, I have region, and I've got sales over here, right? Once this is done, and when I run it, when I run the program, I press F5. Is it date? F5. And when I run it, I will get something like this, correct?
Yes.
Now, if you see where is the date starting, the date is starting from A6. So how do we write the code for that? We are going to write range A6 because from there we are trying to group dot group. And once you press group, you will see there are 4 arguments, which is start, end, by, and periods. Now, what can you group in Excel? We can group dates and we can group numbers. So depending on what you're grouping, out of these 4, we'll use 3. So for dates, we use start. And again, if you remember, when you are doing right click and group, on the top, you see start and end is there. And it's typically at the auto mode, which we do not touch when we are working with dates. So start and end are these 2 arguments that you look at. And periods is this part. So in periods, you have what? You have an array of about 7 elements in it. Right? Now, if I want to put it at an auto mode, if I don't want to give it a date, then how do I write the code? If I have to give a date, then how do I write the code? So if I don't want to write the date, I write true just to make sure that it is check mark. Automatically it will pick up the date, right? And after that we write the keyword periods colon equal to, and we create an array of 7 elements of true and false. Now what are these 7 things? So if I right click and click on group, these are the 7 elements. So if I want to group by year, the last one, so I have to ensure that all the other ones are false and the 7th element is true.
True.
The way it will be written is false, comma, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and last will be true, close the bracket and enter. So now when I run this one, you will see it has group by date, by year, the regions, total sales, and average sales. Okay, right? And if I had to do it where I want to pick a particular date, right? I'm just going to show this part as an example. If I wanted to start from a particular date, then instead of true, you are going to put the date within the hashes, and the date that you will put will be in form of MMDDYY. If I want to specify the date, though when you do grouping of the dates, we typically do not specify the date, but in just in case, if any you encounter some usage of it, then this is how we do it. And when you're going to group the numbers, then we use start, we use end, and by. So when you're grouping numbers, do you leave start and end at auto mode, or do you put the values of start and end?
We put the value.
We put the value.
We put the
value, right? So how it would appear, just to give you an example, it would appear something like this: range, let's say A6 dot group start colon equal to, let's say 1 comma end colon equal to, let's say 200 comma by colon equal to 10, something like this. So instead of periods, now we use by. And by what you do, you say
By
okay,
is the
from 1
difference
to
between
20. Yes.
1 to 20, 20 to 30.
1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30.
Right.
Yes. So basically telling what is the slab size of the, from the starting to the end, how we are going to divide the range. So this is how your grouping is done. Now, in your yesterday's code that you had written, so you have made product-wise total sales, maximum sales, and I think count of sales. And the question was create this as a yearly summary. So you kind of have to do what I've done, that first drop the date before the product, understand where the dates are starting, and then write something like this of dot group, start, end, and so on and so forth. Can you all finish the report 5 then? And another thing we were facing yesterday when you were working with report 5, that I am creating on a new sheet again and again. So I'm not facing any difficulty. But if I have to create on a specific sheet, for example, I'm going to create on the sheet called pivot. So can I, when I run this thing, when I run this code, instead of worksheets.add, I would be writing worksheets pivot dot activate, right? Now when I run this code again, F5, I'll get an error saying a report table cannot overlap another report table because a pivot table is there. I can't put another one. So how do you tackle this error? You
Clear,
told
delete the sheet.
we are going to delete it. So we can put if function as soon as we activate, and also see where the data is starting from. It's starting from A5. So I can check if range A5 is not empty. Then what I want to do is range A5, since I don't want to delete few cells, but all the cells, dot current region, dot delete to delete the entire thing, end if. And if the range is empty, if you're running this thing for the first time, or you deleted manually and running it, then no error would be showing up. So now if I press F5, it ran on the same sheet. All right. So everyone, please include these two parts in your codes. One is that making sure that when you're running on the same sheet again and again, you don't have to manually delete it in the front end. It should be a part of your code. And secondly, add the date field in front of product. And the last thing, put the grouping part. And let me know when once you're done.
Grouping part, please.
The grouping part.
Yeah.
So first you need to drop the field to understand where it is going to be in your pivot, and then from there pick it up.
Ishani, again, if you can put this on LMS for under today's date.
1 second. All right, second, now you should be able to find it there. Okay. All done? Done.
No, Shani.
Okay. Let me know where I can help you. All right, anybody needs my help?
Shani is still doing. Just give me a minute.
Don't rewrite the entire program. I hope you guys are not rewriting the program.
No.
In the previous program, only add 3 lines.
Okay.
lines.
2, in fact, yes, not even 3, it's 2 lines.
The seat name report 6, we can create that also, because like create a region and customer metrics. So what do you mean by customer metrics?
Matrix is going to be a 2-way table. Region in one place and customer in another one. So
that is
basically
column.
copying, so basically copying both the columns, removing duplicate from the column, transposing one of the columns to make it matrix, and then apply formulas inside.
Okay.
I think we have 5 more days with us, and 5 more days are there. Functions, events, and then your SQL will start. Pratibha is done. All right. Gunjan, I've sent some message to you. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes, Ishani, I'm
All right.
awaiting that.
Okay, thank you. Kshitij, you've done very well in the assessment, by the way.
Okay, is it serious or sarcasm?
No, why would I'm not supposed to be sarcastic with you guys.
Okay.
No, it's good. It's good.
So
Thank
when the result will be out?
Sanjeev, you also did well.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Is it
should
very
be-
well or just well?
It is good. It is good. I was happy to look at the end results.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Kshitij has done good. Gunjan was expected will do good only. But Ankita, Deepika, Dheeraj, Naveen, Pratibha was you're a silent person, but you performed. Sanjeev did good. Shweta did good. I know she's not happy with the performance most of the time, but you did good.
Okay, Ani, what about that second attempt we did for the first
Yeah,
exam?
I've actually, as soon as I recovered from COVID, I had 9 hours training every day. Every day I was, today's the first day where this is my first training session.
No problem. That's all
So
right.
after Tuesday, I'm relatively free because still again on Monday and Tuesday, I've got 9 hours full day packed. So after Tuesday, I'll sit and check.
No problem. On the weekdays also we'll practice more.
Yes. We work on folders, arrays. Gunjan, can you help me to understand array? How do you use an array? Like I have never been able to use array. Error handling is there. Outlook objects. Okay, that I don't
Yes,
do.
for example, suppose we take the list of all the worksheet from a folder and then we store into the array, so that when we manipulate in a loop for each loop of the worksheet, when we change the data or when we do something, when it is required to save the worksheet to a different location, it is useful in that kind, so that we don't have to specify each and every element.
But can't you just run a loop with it and work with the positions of it and extract the name?
Sometimes
the
there
go?
are also other files which we do not want to include while we are fetching all the directories in a folder. So at
Okay.
that time we specify which are the file name which need
Okay.
to be pulled.
Can you create, like I requested, I know I'm pushing you a little more. Can I request you to create smaller case studies for me, like we did right now, right? Where we said, okay, I want to pick a file and consolidate into one worksheet. Similarly, if you could give me 1 or 2, like events,
Sure.
I'm going to cover.
Yep.
Error handling, I'm going to cover.
Yes,
But
I'll show you some
arrays
of the
and
problem
folders.
statement.
Yes, please do that.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Just I want to make sure that it's relevant work that you're learning, and then you're, at the end of that, you are going to be happy looking at your knowledge level. Then that's my main thing. Finally done, Ankita. Good job. Okay, now I have to move. 3 lines can't take so much time. Ashish, are we stuck somewhere? Can I help?
No, I have done.
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 Okay, anyone else who needs help? Abhishek, done.
Ishani done.
Deepika, done. Arshad? Faisal,
Yeah, yeah, Shani, done.
done. Kshitij, Prasad, Naveen.
Ishani, I am not done, but you can continue.
Okay.
Yes, Shani, I'll also work on it later on because I think I need to make some changes more.
It's just two lines you need to add. So whatever was your program, just follow this step, okay? This line you need to add because your data set is also similar to mine. So where you added product in the row, you just need to add a line above it.
Yeah, but what happened? My table is gone, so I need to. Once
Where
I
did it
added
go?
this, I don't know. It's gone. I'll just do it later on.
All right. All right. Let's talk about the other two things that we want to have. There are two type of calculations that we covered in Excel also. One is show value as and one is the calculated field. Okay. So let's take an example. Let's take an example. From this data set, let's say I wanted to create a region wise. What do we want to create? Let's create a region wise
Profit or something.
let's do what we did in Excel. Let's try to recreate the same thing that we did in Excel. So I'll just tell you and you guide me then where to put what and how to do it. So this is what I want as an end product, which I had done it with you and I taught you using the same example in Excel. Something like this is created. And this is, let's say, year wise. And then I wanted to find growth. Remember? We did a percentage difference and we said the field is date and the item is previous and we found this growth and then we had the sales once again and something like this we had. Do you guys remember?
Yes, Ishani.
Ishani, yes.
Right, total sales and percentage change we had. So let's try to create the same table in VBA. Few things I'm going to copy from the previous example.
Yes, you can.
Because I don't want to rewrite. Sorry, being lazy right now. I'm going to copy a lot of it actually and then I'll edit it. So again, a quick revision also for what we were doing. We declare PTC as a pivot cache to store our data. We declared PT so that one pivot table, whatever we want to drag, drop, it is easy for us to work. Then we activated the sheet where the raw data was kept. We picked up the data using current region. Then we activated the sheet pivot, but in this case, let me just add a new worksheet. And after that, this also will not be there for now. We'll have to check where it will fit. Then we used on active sheet and we placed our pivot table. Once that is done, then I have to drop the region. I need the row, but where should I drop the row now? Dates should be where? Region is in row, date should be in
Column.
column field.
Column.
Right, this should be in column and I've got 2 columns of sales. Correct? So far so good?
Yes.
So once I run this program, what will I get? F5. I'll get something like this where sum of sales, and the date has come in column B5. So from B5, I need to now do grouping of it, right?
Yep.
So same thing we are going to do. We'll go back in our program. This was the formula this was the syntax for grouping. This is in B5. I want to do grouping and I want to do by years. So all this is all good. This will all work. Now, once this is done, again, let's try to run and see where it all worked. So I've got something like this. correct? Now, when you want to apply show value as, can you be anywhere in your pivot table, or you have to be in a certain column where you want to change the calculation or apply the calculation?
In a certain column.
Certain column where we want to apply, right? If I had to do a percentage difference, then I had to go to this column of sales to and right click and do a show value as. So just like in grouping, how you should know where the cell is and you're grouping, for your show value as also, you will have to know which column, which cell, the first cell, where is it, and then we do the calculator, the function over here. So how will we do show value as? It is in range C7. Okay. Dot pivot field dot calculations. And when you put equal to sign, you will see all the calculations that you typically see when you do show value as is going to appear over here. So I have got difference from, index, additional percentage difference from, this is what I need. Now, when we do a percent difference from, another pop-up comes up which says, okay, what is the base field and which is the base item? Remember? If I would go right click and I do a show value as and I say percentage difference, it is going to ask me which is the base field and which is the base item. So same thing would appear over here also. So what we will do is we are going to copy and paste and ask, okay, what is my base field? Which is my base field? It's a date, correct? Base field is what? The date on which we are applying the difference, because there are two fields, region and there is date. So my base field is date and base item is previous,
Previous.
right? So we'll put in previous over here in the base item. Something like this. And now if I press F5, it worked. Same thing. And then I just need to go back and change my captions. So sum of sales, I want to call it total sales, and sum of sales 2, I want to call it. So pt dot pivot fields sum of sales equal to dot caption equal to total sales. And same thing, next sum of sales 2 is equal to percentage change. And we run it once again. And this time it's properly formatted.
But it's not showing for 2005 percentage change.
Because there's no previous to 2005, right? That was the first year. So that will always be blank. All right. Few more betterments can be done, but I don't remember the coding for it. So typically if I have to get, for example, if I was working in Excel, I would have got rid of this total grand totals, turned them off. So how do you turn it off? Even I don't know. I record the code, I pick up the code, I edit the code and fit it in. That's how I usually would do it.
And in Shani, also there's one option where we change the display of the pivot, like we want the classic view. So how can we do that in VBA?
Again, we will have to record and see. I don't remember. See, things related to formatting, they are typically very cumbersome. They're very long codes, and unnecessary remembering those codes also doesn't make sense. So anything to do with the formatting, I typically record and I pick it up. So we can do this exercise over here. Let's say, no, cancel. Let's say I wanted to record a code where I want to get rid of these, what do you say? The grand totals, right? So I just will go to view and macros and record a macro. Okay. And all I want to go is design, and I want to go to grand totals and turn it off, right? In this case, Ankita, what you were talking about was this report layout, correct?
Yes.
Right. In this case, it won't help to change the report layout. It would more be for when you have those group tables, then it makes sense. So that's why I'm not touching it. But again, what I'm doing over here for one formatting is what I'm going to follow for others. Then I'll go back, go look at the data, how it's working, pick it up and copy, bring it back to my table over here and paste it. So what is over here? First of all, you will see there's something new called with and with, right? Now, what is with and with? When there is a certain object, which is the object, this is the object over here. If this object, if I have to work on it multiple times, like for example, I did C7 dot pivot fields. This is common. And inside there is dot calculation, dot base field, dot base item. So what I could have done to make it little more presentable and structured, I would have said with, whichever is the main object, which is range C7 dot pivot field, dot calculation is this, dot base is this, and dot base item is this, right? And then at the end, say end with. This will also give the same output. So instead of repeating it multiple times, we can use a with and with structure and reduce that working. Same thing, when your macros get recorded, they do the same part. They will say with and with most of the things, because even though you touched one part of your formatting, it is going to give you code for the entire thing. Just like how when we did paste special and let's say we only wanted transpose, but it would give everything from paste to operations to skip blanks and transpose. So that needs to be there. Now active sheet, pivot tables PT, I can simply replace this entire thing with only the word PT, because PT is the pivot table on which I want to make these changes. So with PT dot grand column grand total false, row grand total false, and that's it. So now if I run this code now, F5, now you see the fresh code, sheet 17 got created and there is no grand total over here. So record a little bit, modify as per your program, anything which is unnecessary, get rid of it.
So, Sani, I want to ask something.
Mhm.
When we record, for example, when we record for the pivot table, only just creating a simple pivot. So I recorded and I go in the recorded macro and checking is so lengthy, and your when you written in a 2-3 lines, so it's different. How can we judge?
No, that's
So
what I
this
said.
line
See,
is important than this.
the only
Yeah.
thing is when macro records something, macro has to write a code for each and every step you take. For example, when you copy and paste, this small process of copy and paste, it writes in 5 lines. It'll say first you go here, second line will now you copy this, then it will say now you go here, then it will say now you paste it, and now you select this. The entire in which can be done in 1 line is done in 5 lines. So if you know the basic coding, like what you have learned is quite good in amount of coding that you guys have learned. I don't know how many of you are able to fathom that thing, but it's a decent amount of coding you guys have learned to do quite a bit of automation, and now all you should be doing is record. But even when you're recording things like active sheet dot pivot tables 11, because macro recording is typically static, so always look for these kind of things. Okay, if how will I make that static into dynamic? That has to be point number 1. Point number 2, like my thing was that I wanted to remove the grand totals, but if there were few more things coming along with it, because it's a part of that particular formatting, then you delete it and use only the ones that you want and copy and paste.
So how can we judge? So this is important or this
I'll
is
tell
not
you.
important?
I'll tell you. Let's do this small exercise. Do you want to export?
Only
No, I don't export. Oh, hold on. This code everybody remembers? The first code you guys wrote. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to make you understand how would you do it. So first thing it was doing is active cell dot offset 1,0 means it was coming one cell down. Right?
Right.
Now, do I need range A1 in it? From active cell, I want to come one cell down. Do I need to mention range A1?
Yes, might be cursor, might be somewhere else.
But this is not going to bring your cursor to A1. What this is saying is wherever that cell is now, it is going to treat that as A1. Do we really want that? The first cell. No, we don't want it.
We can, yeah.
I can delete it easily.
Yes, I
Right?
think also. Yes, it's correct.
Right. Now
No
over
need.
here, it uses the word selection. That's also fine. And then now see, it is selecting in one. Then it is doing copy paste mode false. Then it is doing a copy. Do I need this thing? Once I've got my selection, I can simply copy it.
Yes, we copy it.
We copy it. So I can easily get rid of these two lines.
2 lines.
Right? Now, next line is active cell offset 1 - 0. Again, once I've copied, I'm going up. But again, range A1 do I need? I don't need
No
it
need.
at all. So I'll delete this.
Yeah.
And then it's saying selection pay special, that is fine. But only thing I did in pay special was use transpose. Okay. But since it's a recorded macro, it will do everything. So I'll get rid of it. Okay. So like this only, when you sit and look at the code, you will be able to understand how much you can remove. So over here again, same thing is happening. Offset is fine, but it's selecting, then it's getting cut copy modes, and it's saying entire delete. So I can actually get rid of,
delete.
you can directly
Yes,
delete. So I
entire
can get
delete.
rid of all these things.
Entire delete. Yes.
That's it. That's it. Your code is small again.
No, this is fine, and I'm also known this, but only about talking about the pivot table. Pivot table.
Pivot table, my suggestion, Vivek, is never ever record and see. The reason is it's super hard coded.
I know how to write the pivot. I'm trying always recorded and I'm editing and then using.
Absolutely. And you see, there are so many things that we can talk about while I'm teaching also. There are so many objects you can deal with. The reason I don't touch upon a lot of things is because other recording and editing is fairly, I think it's doable. But when it comes to pivot, my experience has been rather than recording, it's better I write because I'll take almost equal amount of time to edit that code. It becomes so cumbersome, it's so hard coded because everywhere the table reference is there, you're going to convert it to current region. It's better you use your PTC pivot cache and use it throughout. Pivot tables are mentioned with the numbers. Every time you rerun the program, the number of the pivot table will be changed. Pivot table 11 was there, you deleted, now it will be pivot table 12. So how do you deal with that? So that's why PT is important, using a particular variable in which you're storing and referring to it again and again. So because of all these things, that's why I teach pivot table extensively, because I know recorded coding in pivot table is worse. It's bad. I never record. I used to record, but I've stopped recording. I was like, I'd rather learn my code rather than record it. Okay. So you will have to kind of see where is it easy to edit and what you need to edit. Two things. One, convert the static into dynamic ranges. And two, get rid of anything which is unnecessary and program is not going to use it.
Okay.
Just do these two editing and you should be fine. You will be fine. All right. Last thing that we have to do is calculated field. So for calculated field, now when you work with the calculated field, I'll add calculated field in this code only. When you create a calculated field, is it in a certain column you have to go, or you can be anywhere in your pivot?
It will be in the last column.
You have to be in last column.
It will usually generates last column.
No, that's okay. But I'm saying when you when you're going and clicking on it, like before I click on show value as, I had to be in a certain column, in a certain cell, not a certain cell, but certain column to do it. What about calculated field? Do I have to be in a certain column to do it?
No.
We do not
I
have
guess
to.
no.
Right? So that's why, now why I'm asking you these questions is because it helps you to remember your codes. Now, since calculated field is not associated with any cell or a column, how do we write it? pt dot calculated fields. Because where are you adding it? You are adding to a pivot table. So pivot table, which pivot table you want to add, and what you're doing, you're adding a field. And if you remember the syntax that we had when we were adding over there, also we have to give a name and we have to give a formula. Same thing we are going to do over here. We are going to put a name. Let's say we want to put profit and comma, I want to put a formula. So just like how you put a formula over there, you start with an equal to sign and write it. So let's say 5% into the sales. We do have something called sales, right? Yes. Okay. All right. And that's it. So this will create the calculated field. But what happens in Excel, it creates and it also puts in your table. It does that dropping part also by itself. Over here, dropping does not happen. So for that, again, we will have to write a code, pivot table fields in the bracket. What is the name of this field?
Profit.
Profit. And where do I need to drop it?
Last.
Column. No,
It will drop
That is
automatically.
value
Excel
value.
data field.
Excel data.
Excel data field. Okay. So if I run it F5, oh, ambiguous. Okay. F5. So I've got, what did we do over here?
Sum of profit.
Oh yeah, sum of profit. I was thinking what change has it become? Sum of profit is also here. So I've got total sales, percentage change, sum of profit is there, and a profit column has been calculated field of profit has been created. So if I do calculated field, you see profit has been created. All right. So very simple to learn these codes. And once you've done 4-5 times, you've created a pivot table, all this will go in your memory only. You don't have to work too hard to look at the data again, the code again and again. All right, questions? No questions?
We'll do this over weekend, then we'll have questions.
Okay. So when are we having the next assessment? Monday. I think you like Mondays. But this time it will be a code that you have to write. Again, I'll make your cannot hear you. You guys can't hear me? Hello?
Yes,
we can.
Yes,
we
we can.
can.
All right. Let me
It is
know.
because you are talking about assessment.
And that to coding.
And that to coding. Yes, coding will be a part of it this time. I'm falling short of putting things in simple questions. So a coding will be a part of it, but I won't give longer codes like how we had that folder code and all this pivot table. Might ask you to create a small pivot table, but other than that, it will be a small code that, okay, in this column, do this, in this table, and go to this column and do this, small activities. Yes, Kshitij.
Sorry, I dropped in between. So I tried the previous one and getting error. Can I show my screen?
Sure.
So
All right.
something wrong with this. So I entered this thing after activating the report 5, but I added.
This is the yearly one.
I added also this, and and the
Okay.
last one. That's
I
all I
think I think your grouping is from A6. It would not be from A5. If you're checking
Oh.
empty cell in A5, this typically will be in A6 next cell.
Yes, I even
A7 in
A7 in fact.
no A7. It will go in A7. Yeah,
A7.
it'll typically go in A7.
Okay.
Now run. Unable to get debug.
Grouping
Same
on
issue
date
as
only.
yesterday.
Same thing.
It's the same issue. Just reset it. Go to your
Oh.
Excel file.
But
Nothing
nothing
is
here.
taking this. Right. Okay, go back to Excel. Click on a cell. Not able to click, right? It got corrupted. Save and close and open it again.
Wow.
That is one issue I have with pivots. I don't know, Gunjan and Vivek, since you guys said you're using it, you have it or not. Save, code, save. Did you
So
save
that
the code?
one I think I saved, but
okay, I'm the code is there. But Gunjan, I don't know if you face this thing. I face this thing. If I run my pivots a lot on one data set, my file gets corrupted. Then the whole thing I have to do is save and close and then open again. Now it's a different thing.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that. Why does it happen to me then?
So here for date in Excel row call. Row field.
Hold on. Before that, there is a problem.
Yeah, date is in
Because
row.
yeah, that too should be on.
This is fine. This row field is fine. The problem is on the top. Activate pivot tables, PTC, range, A5. Report file.
A5 because the pivot table I think already there.
It's in A6. Okay, go back to the code. No, don't delete.
You have
This
to have change.
if range A5, not A5, A6. A5 was empty. That's why it was not able to place another one. A6. Right, run it again. Third time is a charm. It ran?
Yes.
No, cannot group that selection. Okay, end it. You'll have to go back to Excel to see where it is dropping the date. A8. Because it changed the format of your layout. A8. Almost there. Now it will run. Yes. All right.
Finally. Yeah.
Finally. And if you wanted the ears to be outside and the region to be inside, you need to drop the ear outside. And once you drop, if you move the line up, make sure your grouping also you change. So for example, the date that you've dropped, date.orientation, cut it and place it before the dropping of the region. Cut it and place it after you said set PF region. After that, place it. Set. Yes.
After this.
Enter. Yes. Place it over here. So first the date will get dropped. Now your region will get dropped.
Yeah.
And go to the bottom line of the group. And this will be A7. Now again it will be A7 because we have shifted it.
Yeah,
now run it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
Now this is what I asked for. Yearly product. So region you want to change, it should be product. So yearly product by sales count and max of sales. Close to what I asked, but structure is correct. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Shani.
Shani, rather than specifying a particular range, I prefer deleting the whole pivot.
Where?
Just let me share the code with you.
Okay.
This is the code I use with the command of on error resume next.
Okay.
So that someone, if later on changes the row or column width, the pivot table itself get deleted.
Awesome. And what is this report? Report is referring to what?
Report
the worksheet?
Is, yes, that's the worksheet.
The worksheet. All right. All right. So basically in our case, if I convert it, would it be pt.clear?
Yes. No, but I believe you have to specify the name as well. PT.
PT is a name
Like
only,
we
right?
delete.
So you have named your pivots. We are putting it the object into a variable. So we will have to write PT only, right?
I believe so. I haven't tried though.
Let's see. pt.clear should work or not. I'll use it on where did I okay, this one. So instead of doing all this string bank, we are saying that if we say pt.clear
Table range 2 dot clear. Table range
why not
2.
clear
So the
clear
whole
table?
Clear just clears the data. While table range 2 clears the whole table. That's the function like a dot value.
But I
dot
don't
formula.
have table range 2 dot clear.
Dot clear. Yep.
Correct?
Yes.
F5.
Yes, I believe you have to specify the name of which PT you are.
Can't I just like I'm sorry. I want to try this.
We can try. We can try.
Why is it giving me block? What did I miss? Enter.
Let's specify the PT name has not been defined yet, I believe.
Oh,
Set
yeah,
PT
yeah.
is below.
Correct. PT has not been defined only. That's why. So in your case also, if the pivot table is not defined, how would it work?
That's why I send on error.
On
that
error.
Then
Okay,
it
okay,
creates, if there is no table on the sheet of
Mhm.
private, it creates one.
It
If
creates
there
one.
is, it clears and then creates.
All right. Okay. Got it. All right. Questions for me. So what is pending for us, I'll tell you. We have 5 more days for VBA. So I'm going to quickly take you through what all we have to cover. We have to cover on Monday, we will be dealing with how to create functions. All right. And if the time permits, I will also talk about events. So how to create functions, how to create events. Then we have to understand how do we call a sub within another sub. I use this extensively when I'm writing larger codes. And then we will talk about form controls. These are our major topics that we have to work on, right? Then I was asking Gunjan also, what else do you think can be added? So he is going to help me on that. Plus, I will have some practice sessions. Like Monday, let's keep it, let's cover functions and events. And Tuesday, let's keep it as a practice session. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And then we learn form controls and then we do a practice session on form controls with only Excel. And then we'll mix form controls with VBA.
One buttons also.
Buttons
That
is
will
form
come.
controls. Form controls are
Okay.
buttons. Yeah. So I'll make you work on how we, let's say, for example, we can also make Excel dashboards and have form controls connected to it. Okay. So I'll make you do that exercise also. And then I'll make you understand, okay, the form control output that's coming, how we connect it in our VBA code. We'll do both.
All right.
Go to, so I skipped Deepika because you guys were getting so scared of go to and select case is still left in case of programming. I'll fit it somewhere. All right, so that's the agenda for us. On Monday, like I said, we will have an assessment, but this time it's going to be on coding. So you will open a workbook, write a code, or if there's most probably there will be an Excel workbook in which I'll put a table and then I'll ask you to create reports on that or do some work on it. And you have to save that file with your name, make sure it's macro enabled workbook and email that same file back to us.
Okay, Shani.
Okay. That's it. If you want, no, that's it from my side. If you want, I can just show you a quick example of how functions come handy to us.
Yeah.
So that it inspires you a little bit.
Yes.
Yes, want some inspiration to learn more, right? So I'll give you two examples. One is for my organization only I created, and one I created for some other company. So this was very interesting. So these guys, it was so this is a market research company that I worked with, and I don't remember what softwares they were using, but their main challenge was that when they are taking a dump of this data, and then when they're giving to a specific software, instead of reading this entire set of line as one, like this as one line or one statement, this is second point, this is third point, this is fourth point, it used to read everything as one single point and work on it. So that was something that they didn't want. So the way they understood how to tackle it was, if they put this symbol and they called it a p tag, if they put the symbol in front and at the end of the sentence, then it is taken as a individual sentence. And so even though everything is kept in one cell of Excel, it will be reading all the points individually. So do you think it's a good idea to sit and put this p tag less than p and greater than sign and do it manually for, this is only one cell and they had thousands of cells like this?
No.
No.
No. Right? So I created a code for them. Basically, I created a function for them so that they can use equal to p tag, refer to the cell, and when they did, all this p tagging was done on the entire text of that cell. Okay, so this is one example where the function really helped us to reduce the time. Second thing, which I think you will be able to understand and relate more, is we do a lot of analysis also when we do our trainings, and just trying to remember who was a client. When we do our trainings and once we do the assessments, right? And sometimes, the companies ask us to create a group of people who are of equal skill set, and then tell them, okay, how it should be. This is a group, or how much the person scored. So like you have given so many quizzes, right? So quizzes gives us results to us in this fashion. So for this particular company, we had a pre-training assessment where we were working with things like aptitude, data interpretation, R, and statistics. So for example, this person, green depicts the person did correct, red depicts the person did incorrect. Now I had to find out that what is the percentage of particular person got in aptitude, what is the percentage he got in DI, how many got in stats, how much he got in, or she got in R. So if I have to do it manually, how I would have to do it? First, I'll have to take only aptitude, correct? Then to find how many are correct, we had to put a color filter over here and get the green cells. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right? And then have a count of it.
Yeah.
Correct? And then repeat it for the other 3 modules. So for one person, I'm applying filter 4 times and getting a value.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 200 candidates we had to work with.
Okay.
Do you think it was an easy thing?
No.
If we sit and do manually? No. So what we did, we created a small function. Okay. Tiny function. You see how much 5-6 lines we created. And what I did over here, I created a function that not only does the work of a COUNTIF, which is just checking a condition and counting, but it also looks at the color. If the color is matching and the condition is matching, then it kind of counts it. So over there, I gave a check of color. So if it's green color and it's aptitude, then count it, otherwise won't. So when I use this thing, you will understand whether there are 200 or 1000 people, how much time it takes to copy paste your formula. So very quickly, we were able to get what is the number of, what is the correct answer everybody got. And we got our percentages. So just writing this tiny code, it helped us a lot. All right. So few examples just to tell you in, daily routine, how small things can have a lot of impact on your work. That's it. So we will learn how to create these functions on Monday. And
Okay.
I would request, since you have time and I've told you what a function's capability is, I would request if you guys can think of anything from your workplace and which requires more time, or it's a longer formula, it's a longer process to get one output. Please think about that and bring it for the session so that we, as a part of the practice, we take that function and create it in the session itself. Few things that you have to keep in mind when you give me suggestions is it's a function. Function returns only one value. So it can't be something like color or certain cells or something that will give a table as an output. It is not supposed to be what sub does. It's a function. Just how Excel functions are. Give a certain input, get one single output. So think about it, and then we should be able to use that example in our session itself.
Ishani, one last thing before you leave the session. I've been wrestling with this you creating a coding for sending an email via
VBA.
Excel, via Excel
Mm.
file or VBA. And the problem that I face is attaching a specific attachment, multiple attachment in that email. So will there be in future, will there be a class where we are going to deal with that, or it's not in your agenda?
It is not in the agenda because it gets complicated. However, I can help you offline with it.
Okay.
All right. So let me note it down.
So sending an email and
With
creating a draft,
attachments.
creating a draft on the mail body is not an issue, but attaching the multiple attachment without using a zip file is what I'm looking for.
All right. Well, I have also not done it, honestly, but I will look into it definitely, and then I can help you offline.
Okay.
All
So
right.
I think
Thanks for that.
I created many mail macros. So
Mail macros as in, like I think Gunjan also is saying that he has also worked on Outlook application object. Vivek, is this something that you have done, which what Faisal is asking?
I think so.
We
Let
can
me put-
connect, Vivek. We can connect, and if
Okay.
it doesn't work out, we can connect with Ishani in that case.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
All
Ani,
right.
can we take this up in class, because I have certain opportunity where I can use this.
This is going to be a little complicated because even I have been struggling. I would not lie to you guys. I have been struggling with sending attachments in an email. I find it like mail merge is there. Excellent feature which we can use, right? But with the mail merge, the biggest challenge is attachments. Attachments don't go with mail merge. So that's one thing. That's the time I thought, I'll let me integrate Excel and VBA. Okay, I'll look into the how easy and tough it is, and probably towards the last portion of the session, if somebody is not ready to take up this entire complicated things, they can leave and we can carry on. How's that?
Yep.
Rather than making it a part of this session, if Vinay allows me, then we'll take half an hour, 45 minutes extra, extend the session, and whoever wants to stay back for this particular application can stay back, rest can leave.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Vivek, can you message your OHR?
He's on the WhatsApp group, so you can talk to him.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. All right, everyone,
great.
you have a good weekend, and I'll see you back on Monday.
Thank you so
Be
much.
ready with your assessment, and it is going to be where you have to write codes. All right. Take care then. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you,
Thank you,
Shani.
Shani.
Bye.
Thank you, Shani. Have a great
Bye.
weekend, Shani.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shani.
Dani.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you, everyone.